Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Casual Sports Podcast. I'm Alek Koberna. That's Matt Morrison over there. No Mike Wolfgang today. He's stepping aside, dealing with a little bit of sickness this morning, so just decided better take it safe than sorry. He'll be back, though, on Monday's show next week. We got all his picks, though, so don't worry. We get to take in the Mike analysis on our own hands, see if we can decipher what he's sending our way. So, Matt, how you doing? One day to go here till the weekend, and then next week, Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. It was a pretty relaxing day, just laying around here. So
Must be nice. Yep.
yeah, you've been laying around too. So
yes, I have. I gotta get homework done here. We're closing in at the end of the semester on our end, so gotta get some stuff done. But speaking of getting stuff done, New England Patriots last night got their stuff done in perfect fashion, shut out the Falcons 25-0 last night, and played some phenomenal football overall. I mean, no gaudy stats from this team, but have the Patriots ever given us gaudy numbers, Matt?
No.
This is a team, once they win, they're done. They're like, all right, cool, we'll wipe this thing up and we'll head home. They're not going out there trying to put up 500 yards. I mean, you saw Mac Jones have a very, very efficient day, 22 of 26, 207 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And, the interception, it was one of those passes, it may have been ill-advised, but I think it's one about 70% of quarterbacks in the NFL are trying to make, and about 65% of the time that one's going to get picked off. It was just a great read coming in, and it was one of those ones that everyone's thinking, man, he's putting together a really, really good stake and drive right now, and A.J. Terrell just comes right on up, picks that thing out of the air and takes it back the other way. He gets tackled down, and they can't capitalize on it. So no harm, no foul for Mac Jones. All it does is put a stat in the category. They don't get any points off of it. So, it was one of those games that it just never felt like this Falcons team could get anything going. I mean, they threw 4 interceptions. Matt Ryan got pulled. Josh Rosen couldn't do anything. They even brought in Felipe Franks from Florida to try and throw this football. He threw it once. He threw it just one time. And he got intercepted on that one throw.
Geez.
So he's putting up Nathan Peterman-esque numbers. So it was just not a good day for the Falcons. The Atlanta Braves may have broken a championship curse, but you still have to be good at your sport in order to win it. And the Falcons just frankly were not last night. Quadrate Allison, 9 carries, 34 yards. Frankly, I think they should have tried to run the football a little bit more. But that Patriots D-line was just suffocating last night. I mean, Russell Gage really felt like the only wide receiver that could even get anything going, and him alone only had 49 yards. So there was just nowhere to go for this offense last night. And we've now seen the Patriots in back-to-back weeks dominate some pretty good offenses. I mean, you saw the way they dismantled the Browns in about 5 minutes, and they took exactly what they did, that blueprint from that game this Sunday. They applied it perfectly here. And, you go ahead and look at the standings now for the Patriots. They're right behind the Bills. And, if you see the Bills end up falling this weekend as they have the Colts, and it's possible they could lose as well. This Patriots team will be right back up there in first place of the AFC East. And with both the Dolphins and Jets pretty much look like they're out of the race, it's definitely one thing you have to look at. And hey, this thing ain't over right now in the AFC East. There was a lot of foregone conclusions that it was going to be an easy ride for the Bills this year, with the Patriots still rebuilding with a rookie quarterback, and Billy B is coming up right now. It's like, nope, you get no time. You better be ready, because we're coming.
We're ready. We're coming. But you talk about that defense. I mean, guys like Van Noy, and I think his name's pronounced Duger.
Oh, Matt, you there? Matt?
My back.
Yeah, you're good. Or not. It's all up to me now, apparently. But yeah, that New England defense, as we're waiting on him to get back in, they've been very good all season long, and you just have to really look at their numbers. Points against, 177 on the season. Even the Steelers defense, which is being touted as one of the best in the NFL, has only allowed 185. So, I mean, they're doing better than that. This is one of the best defenses that we are seeing right now in the NFL. So the Patriots, they got a long way to go in this season. It's not over just because they win this football game. But, it's going to be a rough ride the rest of the way out. And Matt, welcome back in here. You want to continue your rant about the defense here?
Yeah, my bad. Unexpected phone call, and it jams up all my my voice
Equipment
and stuff
there.
like that. Yeah, but Van Noy, unbelievable, 5 solo tackles, and then Duger with 7 solo tackles, and then Hightower's been the the leader of this defense for years, even going back with Brady. He had four solo tackles. That defense, like you said, is insufferable, okay? They can get back there and just create chaos, okay? And even you see Matthew Judon, a guy who was insufferable on the Baltimore Ravens defense, and they added him on this defense, and he has had some great games for this New England team. But look to see more from them.
Yeah, Matt, one of the things you talk about here with the Patriots, they've had a nice start to the season, and they haven't had an easy one at that. I mean, you look at a lot of teams they faced. They faced the Saints early on in the season. They took a loss to the Buccaneers as well. They faced the Cowboys, the Chargers. They face the Browns obviously too, and then upcoming, they got more of this difficult schedule ahead. They're going to have two matchups against the Bills, December 6th and the 26th. They have a very difficult Colts team on the 19th, and then this upcoming next weekend they'll get to host the Titans. And this is a Patriots team that before that Browns game hadn't been doing too great at home. They're still just 2-4 at home, so it's one of those situations that you have to look at. Well, the Patriots are looking good at home. They have struggled, so coming up in the season they're going to have to get through that meat and potatoes that we always talk about if they want to come out on top of the AFC East.
Absolutely. They just have to, keep doing what they're doing. Don't worry about the team that they're playing. Just play the same way they've been playing.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Matt, how about we go ahead and start off with the things everyone's ready for, the NFL preview. A lot of games to go over this week here, and we'll get to see what you guys think and obviously what we think about these upcoming ones. So why don't we go ahead and start off first game of the weekend, New Orleans Saints versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Matt, what are your thoughts coming into this one?
Saints Eagles here.
Yeah, 5-4 Saints, 4-6 Eagles.
I mean, they're very similar teams here. Eagles have been up and down, and the Saints have been dealing with quarterback injuries. Putting Simeon in, but I really like this Eagles team. I've talked a lot about Hurts in this offense, and I think he's the guy that rolls with this offense. Just some of the games they just haven't fallen in their favor. That's all. And they have a great receiving core. Devontae Smith is just going to get even better as the years go on. And I think the same will happen with Jalen Reagor as well. But I got to go. You know what? I'm going to go.
You're going to make your pick already?
Yeah, I'm going to make my pick here.
Oh,
I got to go Eagles here. I say Eagles come in and upset, especially because they don't have Jameis Winston. That's a guy,
Jameis Winston is a very important part of this team, but I think one thing you also have to look at here is Saints are still in second place of the NFC South, just sitting right behind Tampa Bay. So even with their biggest guys out, this is one of those moments that they're going to have to step up and really play some hard football and just try everything they can to get the win. And they've obviously been having their own injury issues. But Matt, what do we always talk about? No matter what the sport is, when your best guy goes down, who do you have to take the reins? And if you're a good team, you got somebody that can take care of business well. You're rebooting, and we've seen that from the Saints year in and year out. They have had quarterback injuries with Drew Brees, and they were able to bring in guys like Teddy Bridgewater, even sometimes Taysom Hill, and they found ways to win football games around that. This is one of those teams that just because they're having an injury and having even a down season, they can win a football game off the strength of Alvin Kamara, and he's having a great year too. You can't put any knocks against him. I think he's been dealing with some injury issues too, but other than that, this guy has still been phenomenal. This is the same wide receiver core that they've been working with for quite some time, and obviously no Michael Thomas, but they've been working this entire system just fine. Everything about the Saints is designed to work no matter who you put in there, and that's exactly what we're seeing. This is a team working to full capacity, and Mike also took the Eagles in this one, and I've been taking the Eagles all season long. I've been a big fan of Jalen Hurts in his first season with that squad, Reagor, and obviously Devontae, one of the Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver. This is just one of those games, though. You got that feeling coming in. Both teams sit in second place of their respective divisions, but I got the New Orleans Saints taking this football game. I think they just have a little too much. I think they have some better coaching. I think they have better skill positions. I think they have a better defense. And in this kind of league we're in now, you have to be able to have good defense in order to win games. And I think the Saints have that in this one.
Yep, that's a fair analysis right there. The Eagles, I just feel like they're due. They're due to win a game. They're due to win a big game, and this is kind of an important game right here.
Yeah, and it is an important game for them.
Teams.
I mean, you see where they sit right now. They're 0-4 at home. This is a home game for Philadelphia. They haven't won in this spot. They are winless in the division. This one won't help them, but they're 3 games back from the Dallas Cowboys for first place of the NFC East. A strong second half of the season, which starts right now, could propel this team into the playoffs here in a couple of weeks. I mean, we're just past the halfway point of the season. We're closing down the shop pretty quickly here. So it's turned from a marathon that you start at the beginning of the season into a full-on sprint. And there's obviously a lot of speed in Philadelphia. So I'll see if they can get there. But at the moment, I don't have confidence in this team. And I think that's stemming from what happened last season. This NFC East, they were frankly weak and embarrassing. I don't think that changes here this season just because, they bring in a few new pieces. This team still has a long way to go. I've been riding them high all season long. I love what they have, but they're going to need a lot more to compete. And this is one of those games you're going up against a team in the Saints that, despite not having their quarterback and their number one wide receiver, is a team that is going to compete every week. And even without those two guys, have a chance to win big games at any given point based on who they have. The Eagles don't have that. So I'm going to go with the Saints.
All right.
Well, next game rolling down there on the ticker below, the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. This one should be a hopefully close game. 3-7 Dolphins, 2-7 Jets. Mike White era officially over for the Jersey Jets. Matt, what are your thoughts going into this one?
I mean, Mike White. I mean, what happened to Mike White? I didn't even hear about this.
I believe he suffered an injury.
Oh, it was an injury? So
Joe Flacco will start. He may not actually have an injury, but Joe Flacco was named the starting quarterback. I think they said they liked the way he scheme fit against the Dolphins better than Mike White. So
okay.
that was the reasoning there.
They're bringing in old Joe against,
old Joe.
Tua.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Old Joe Flacco can still throw some balls, okay? I mean, he's been pretty accurate. I mean, pretty much his whole career. I mean, I haven't been much of a fan with him. The guy was Baltimore Ravens for pretty much his whole career. But I mean, I don't know. They might have a chance. He hasn't played in a while, but I mean, they're playing him for a reason because I think they can win. But I don't know. I think I'm not going with them. I don't think so. But I'm going to think about it here a little bit more.
Yeah, okay? Go ahead. We're not making our picks just yet. We got a few minutes to talk about this. And you look at this matchup, and Matt, it's a battle for last place of the AFC East. And you look at the comparison between these two teams. Offensively, they're both about as tragic as the Pittsburgh Steelers, and actually worse in the Jets' case. But defensively, they don't have that Steelers defense that's helped them stay alive in a lot of this season. So one of these two teams is going to have to give. And you look at that net point rating next to them, and it's not good for either team, and they're both in desperate need of some offense. And they say they're bringing in Joe Flacco here. I don't know if you can even trust this guy to pull it in. He got pulled in last season for this squad as well. He started 4 games, had a 55% completion rating, which was the lowest in his NFL career. Threw 6 touchdowns, though, with 3 interceptions. So the 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio could bode well for them. But he doesn't bring that. He doesn't really bring this team anything. And that's the biggest problem you look at. Just 864 yards in that last season where he was playing for this squad. And I just don't think there's anything there with the Jets that can really amplify them into the status of being able to win a football game, because they're just dealing with too many problems, in organization, in the front office, on the field. There's just nothing going right for this team. And I think it's kind of the same thing that happened to Sam Darnold there that's happening to Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
He's getting injured, and he's not ever going to get a chance. This is the biggest problem that, even made me think Joe Burrow was going to be a bust in Cincinnati was he didn't have an offensive line. And then he goes and gets injured his first year, and you go, oh, here we go. It'll be all over. So far, he's been fine, knock on wood, fingers crossed, he stays fine and, keeps the Bengals as one of the best programs in the NFL. And, you hope that the Jets can rebound and give Zach Wilson an offensive line in this upcoming NFL draft, because I think that's the number one thing they have to grab is some people for the offensive line. Everyone wants to go, oh, got to get the flashy skill players with that top pick they're going to get as a team that's already 2-7. But this is one of those times that you have to go out there and find a way to protect your franchise guy, or else he's not going to be a franchise guy, and you're never going to be able to bring in a franchise guy because he just keeps getting his, skull bashed in every 5 minutes. So the Flacco led Jets this weekend, I don't think they really stand much of a chance in this game, even with the fact that the Dolphins aren't good at football either. I mean, this is a team has been dealing with just as many problems, and you could probably say the same thing. They need to find a way to protect Tua, but he also just needs some more wide receivers. They could really use a big edge rusher, and there's quite a few of those coming out in the draft this year. They pick up a guy like Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Those are probably the two guys that I would have number 1, number 2 on my draft boards if I'm a team like the Miami Dolphins. They need some edge rushing. Every team uses it, and if you can build on one solid edge rusher, you've seen what the Browns done, building around Myles Garrett on that defense, finding his strength, finding his weaknesses, and even the same thing with the Steelers, working around Cameron Hayward really the last decade. I mean, bringing in guys that complement him well. They've been able to build one of the best defenses in the NFL. That goes for the Browns too, and that's something that the Dolphins need. And you saw it with the Jaguars a few years ago when they made an epic run through the playoffs. They were led by a phenomenal defense. Defense in the NFL still wins championships. As much as this is an offensive-led league, you have to have defense to slow down these superstar quarterbacks, and that's just something neither one of these two teams have. So, my initial thoughts here was that I was going to take the Jets. I'm still up in the air on it. Dolphins do come off of, back-to-back wins against the Texans and the Ravens, and, they're on a 2-game winning streak. I'm sticking with the winning streak right now. I'm going to take the Dolphins here because of that.
I'm going to take the Dolphins as well. I think, whoever they go with, Brissett or Tagovailoa, they both fit in that run style type of offense that, Miami runs. So they've both been getting it done to whoever has been in there. So I got to go Dolphins as well. And, they got some pretty big targets. They have Jalen Waddle and, Mike Gesicki. That guy can catch too.
But both very big pieces, and we're already seeing out of Waddle. He looks like he might be the best rookie receiver in the NFL, and he put up one of the best performances in Dolphins history as a rookie wide receiver this past week too. So they're looking for some big things out of their superstars here. Mike did take the Jets though. I don't know if he knows Mike White isn't starting. Mike picking Mike, but that Jets team. This will be a close one for sure, and I don't think this is one that you just go right away. Oh, it's the Dolphins to lose, because I don't feel like either one of these teams have what it takes, but I just got to go with that winning streak right now that you see the Dolphins are on. So that's where I'm going that way. The next game, probably not a great one either, but it's a big chance for Washington football team as they hit the road, take on the Carolina Panthers. I find this to be an interesting game. You see the way Washington performed last week, and you've seen the way the Panthers have been all season long. It's just not a team you can ever rely on to lose, and they're not a team you can rely on to win either. It's like picking Auburn in college football. There's no chance you're going to pick that one right.
Yeah. The Panthers, they started off the season pretty good. What was it, like 3-0?
Yeah, they were 3-0, and now they're 5-5. It hasn't been a great, second half of this first half of the season.
Yeah, they had some problems with Sam Darnold. They bring in Cam Newton back, who had a phenomenal game, but against a depleted Cardinals team. No quarterback. No, they didn't have their starting quarterback. So, Kyler Murray is like the leader of that Cardinals team, and when he's not there, it just doesn't feel right. And even Colt McCoy went down, I believe, as well.
Yeah, that's a team that's just dealing with so many problems as well.
Wait till they get everybody back. They'll be scary again.
Yeah, that's for sure. And obviously the Panthers get that win over them last week, maybe due to some of those injuries. And I think the one thing right now for Carolina, Cam Newton, he's back as a starting quarterback, and he's going to get a shot this weekend to prove to a lot of NFL scouts coming up this offseason that he's a guy that a lot of teams should go ahead and look at, because we saw what he did a week ago. He didn't get many snaps, but when he came in, he was efficient, in that short red zone game. And that's something this team has been lacking a lot this season, was having an efficient red zone offense. You even look at the Panthers. They're just scoring 205 points on the season. They've allowed 193. They're actually having a pretty solid defense, but we haven't seen the offense be able to put up numbers. We saw Darnold those first 3 weeks. He looked fantastic, fell off, got injured, and now he's on the IR and potentially done for the season as well. So it's up to Cam Newton to cement this team back in their status. And you look at their rankings right now, they do sit in third place of the NFC South, but they're not out of it just yet. You got the Buccaneers 6-3, Saints are 5-4, they're 5-5, the Falcons at 4-6. Everyone wants to talk that AFC North and how close that one is. This one is right up there, right up with them in terms of how close that this division can potentially end up being if the Buccaneers can't find a way to pull away. So I think that's one thing you at least have to look at right now for this squad is they may be down, but they're not out. If Cam Newton can lead a fantastic second half of the season, run the schedule right down the line, this is a team that you just have to be careful. If they can finish 12-5, which would be insane at this point, but it's possible with 7 games left in the season. Yeah. It could be one heck of a run and re-cement Cam Newton as the MVP status we thought he was when he went up to New England.
And you know what? Cam Newton's going against his old coach, Ron Rivera, on that Washington football team. So Ron Rivera knows how Cam Newton plays. And, you could probably say Cam Newton knows how Ron Rivera coaches. So it goes either way there. And, it's an advantage and disadvantage. Hey, I know how he works, but he knows how I work too. So,
and Matt, I think the big thing also, there's a lot of injuries right now for this Washington football squad. Yeah. And their defense has not been nearly as good as it was last year, and they just lost their pass rusher and Chase Young for the season. Torn ACL, he's done. He'll be back next year. Yeah. Probably a delayed start even next year since it's already so late into the season now. So it's a very depleted team. I think they're having some some issues elsewhere on the offense with injuries, and obviously their quarterback is that quarterback situation has been so up and down all year. Yeah. They don't really seem to have somebody. I hope they pick someone in the draft. I think there's a few guys that could fit their system a little bit better than what we've seen in the last few years. Clearly, Dwayne Haskins was not a system fit, but I think it'd be a good chance to bring somebody in, see if they can find something with one of these rookie quarterbacks, or potentially bring in somebody that was a rookie this past season that perhaps wasn't starting. There's a lot of big names out there from the college ranks that are kind of sitting on depth charts. Felipe Franks from Atlanta, for instance, could be a potential good system fit up in Washington, bringing in a more of a pass pocket presence quarterback who can really sling the rock out there. Yeah, Will Greer is somebody that could definitely bring in as a good starting spot. And Trevor Siemian could be looking for somewhere to go as well if he continues to put up some decent numbers. Obviously, the Broncos have been using about 15 different quarterbacks. There's a lot of people that can be brought into this Washington football team, but you look up what they're going against this weekend with the Panthers. They're getting McCaffrey. He's starting to get back into the mix, and Chuba Hubbard has been going off, it seems, every week. So this Carolina squad, they're on an uphill track, and I like him here. Mike took the Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers. And Matt, I'm assuming?
I'm going to take the Panthers.
Okay, there you go.
Cam Newton had a great game last week, and, like you said, they're getting Christian McCaffrey back along with Chuba Hubbard. And, I like their defense too. Yetur Gross-Matos is on that defense. So you got to stick with them.
Yeah, Yetur Gross-Matos, phenomenal defensive end rusher from Penn State. Yeah, I was big on him coming out of the draft. That was the one time we did a live reactions to the NFL draft. You were counting on him for about 15 picks, and he doesn't get taken. No, that was a long night. That first round of the draft takes, 4 hours?
Yeah, we were just sitting there. Yetur.
Jeez. Yeah, that's on our old YouTube channel, Casual Sports Report on YouTube.com. If you want to go all the way back through it, I think it's a couple hours long. It may have been trimmed down. I don't remember. That was 2 years ago now at this point.
2 years now. Yeah.
Wow. Coming up on the 2-year anniversary of Casual Sports Report, actually.
Yeah.
We'll get into that eventually when it get here. Well, how about next game here, Matt? Indianapolis Colts, Buffalo Bills. Bills have not been looking very hot, Matt. Your team has been struggling down a little bit, and the Colts, they haven't looked great either, but they just seem to be doing just enough every single week. They're a scrappy team, and you see them right now. They're coming off a 2-game winning streak, 3 of their last 4 with wins over the 49ers, the Jets, and the Jags. So it's been an easy ride. They get forced to overtime against the Titans 3 weeks ago, and they don't really have any impressive wins, but they've been playing everybody close this season, and I think that's the big thing. The Bills, they've started slipping down in the second half of the season. They were off to a phenomenal start. I mean, that defense was incredible, and then you saw that slip up against the Titans, and you went, what? That doesn't make sense. Then they slipped it up against the Jaguars, lose that one on November 7th to start out the month. And that didn't make sense. They come back against the Jets, and they played phenomenally. Lights out, 45-17 win. I'm sort of expecting a similar performance here, but you just never know what you're going to get out of this Bill squad.
Yeah, I think they've had a couple. I mean, we've talked about fluke games before. I just think I mean, some of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning and then came and just played an awful game. I mean, Josh Allen didn't even look like himself in that Jacksonville game, like not at all. Like we've been talking to MVP about this guy for a couple of years now. It's more this year than last year. Last year it came into fruition. This year is where it's actually starting to get serious. And, that's starting to slip away too. This is the game here against the Colts where he has to be like, hey, I'm the leader of this team and I need to take control of this offense. And I can't play like, garbage like I did a couple of weeks ago. And, he came out at that next week against the Jets and showed that. And I think he found the track during that Jets game and he's going to be on the right track because if he's on the wrong one, he's going to get hit by a train. So.
Right, and I mean this Colts squad, they've just felt so up and down this season, Matt. And obviously the Bills are in must-win scenarios now with the Patriots kind of on their hightails. I hope it lights a fire into them because this is one of their best chances they've had in recent years to win the AFC East. Obviously, they get it last year with the down Patriots. I think they had the feeling that with Tom Brady gone, they were finally going to get a chance to run the division for a while. But, as we were saying a minute ago, they're storming right back into it. So you get into these moments where you just go, man, I thought we had something, and now you got the Patriots right back behind you trying to take over the division again. It's going to be up to Josh Allen to prove to everybody that he was worthy of that MVP talk we gave him at the beginning of the season, worthy of all the high praise he's been getting over the last 2-3 years, worthy of being the next Buffalo quarterback that can potentially drive them to a championship. Even if he isn't that guy, I don't think this is one that gets replaced. He probably has another 5-6 years where he can stay in Buffalo before they go looking elsewhere. I don't think it's where he ends up retiring, but I think he has a long, illustrious career in Buffalo with some nice awards. But I love Josh Allen. I think he's the guy. But if he can't beat the Patriots and he can't get this team anywhere, unfortunately, they're going to have to move on from him sooner rather than later. And I just don't know if there is getting past Bill Belichick and the Patriots. They have that spot right now. I don't know how long that spot's going to last. It's a phenomenally coached group, and so long as Billy B is coaching in the NFL, it's going to be rough for anybody trying to take over the AFC East. So unless the NFL can get some divisional realignment, which, wouldn't be the worst thing potentially in the NFL, it's going to be a tough task for this team, and it's must-win football now. And I think this is one that you really have to look at and go, the Bills could lose.
I know. I mean, they got this game in their next week on Thanksgiving Day in New Orleans, and then it's the game.
Yeah.
It's the Patriots game. And you know what? I think it's
December 6th.
Yeah. It's a 8:15. I think that's Sunday Night Football. It's a primetime game.
Yeah, it'll be huge for the AFC East, and it can become really huge, especially if you see this Bills team slip up in one of these next 2 weeks with the Patriots playing as hot as they are. You really have to start looking down the line and think, man, the Patriots can be right back where they were just 2 seasons ago. So, Matt, how about we go ahead and make our picks here? Mike took the Bills. I see the shirt you're wearing. I imagine you're taking the Bills.
Oh, I know. I'm picking the Colts, man. No, go Bills. I say it's another bounce back week, for Josh Allen and this offense. Get Cole Beasley going, get Diggs going. Diggs has been quiet a little bit. They got to get him going more. I think they need to go to him a little bit more, but we will see.
Well, my picks in the NFL have been suffering the last few weeks. I think I got to take the safe route here. I got to go with the Bills. They have everything going off. They're coming off a big win last week with the loss to the week prior. They're still on that up road where they're kind of like, hey, we have to prove everybody wrong after that 6-9 game against the Jaguars. So this is going to be a game. They're going to come out hot. It should be a runaway by halftime. Hopefully for all the Bills fans, but you can't count out Carson Wentz. I've really loved what he's done in his first season with Indy. I thought he was a really good pickup for them this offseason. I know, Matt, you're not very high on Wentz there, especially back in Philly, but you have to be impressed at least with what he's been doing so far.
Yes, absolutely. I am impressed, a little bit, but I mean, he's
absolutely a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, how about we talk another team here that nearly beat an AFC North contender in the Pittsburgh Steelers a week prior. They tied them. They got close, but no cigar. No imperfect season for the Detroit Lions, but they got another AFC group coming up and the 5-5 Cleveland Browns this week. Matt, I think everybody knows where I stand on my Browns. What are your thoughts right now as they sit last place of the AFC North?
I mean, they definitely have been going through some stuff. Baker's not in his right mind right now. I mean, they went through the whole Odell thing, which I thought was a good thing, and then they just get annihilated by New England, and I'm like, what happened? So definitely a week to bounce back for them. Who are they playing again?
Lions, Matt.
The Lions? Oh, geez. Oh, they're losing.
Browns are losing or Lions are losing?
Oh, I don't know. That probably ended in a tie.
Okay.
Probably be ended in a tie. What if the Lions would just tie every game for the rest of the season?
What? So they would finish 0-8-9?
8-8. 0-8-9.
Yeah, that would be
that would be weird.
That's just weird to even think about here. But I mean, you look at the Browns right now, and there's been a lot of talk about how good their defense is. But you look at the numbers, that defense has allowed 241 points on the season so far. Them and the offense combine on turnovers that result in touchdowns, but 241 points against this team so season leads the AFC North, and the offense really hasn't been bad. They have the same amount of points for as the Ravens, and the Ravens are getting a lot of credit for their offensive performances week in and week out. But I'm just not seeing anything out of the Lions squad that makes me think they're going to be able to stop this Browns offense. But at the same time, I haven't seen anything out of the Browns offense this last week that made me think they have an offense. I mean, they're going to, have to work out what's going on with this wide receiver situation. And clearly in the draft, that is the number one hole they're going to have to address, is finding another wide receiver to get a downfield threat who doesn't want to get, 800 carry or 800 looks a game like Odell did. And this team needs work. They're not the contender we thought they would, and I'll be the first to admit that. It's a good team. They're, pretty much just a game and a half, 2 games back of the Ravens, but they're going to have to find a way to win without superstars being the ones to make all the plays. They're going to have to do the little things that count, and it relies on the arm of Baker Mayfield, and this becomes the test of whether or not he is that guy. All the criticism out there once again, and every time he gets criticized, he plays his best. When the people start going, oh yeah, you're a good quarterback, that's when he falls down. He's getting a lot of hate coming off this week, so I'm hoping he comes out with a big performance. That's why I'm taking the Browns here. It's because of the way he performs after he gets hated on. He lights it up, and I'm expecting a big game from Chubb on the ground. I want to see this team get back into a rhythm, get those tight ends involved. We have 3 of the best tight ends in football when it comes to how they fit a system, and these 3 guys are phenomenal in the way they work with the Browns. I just need them to show up this week.
Yeah, I think this is the week they will show up. I think that little tie, whatever, I don't know how they did it, but I think that's gone. Whatever they did to do that, it's gone. And I think the Browns are going to run the tables on them, especially with Chubb back. So that's good. So we shall see.
Yeah, that's for sure here. And, I'm looking for the Browns just to go out and have a big week, because it feels like it's been a while since they've had that, especially coming off that Patriots game where they got toasted like a marshmallow over a fire for too long. I mean, they were on fire and melting. It was an ugly thing to watch last week. I mean, I had that game muted in the second quarter. So you look now ahead in the schedule, Browns have to play well down the stretch, finish off the season, winning the majority of those games, and they have one of the toughest remaining schedules left. And I want to see this team finish at least 500. Give me 500. Give me a 500 season, and I'll be satisfied. I don't want losing seasons. The Cleveland has had too many of those. Give me a 500 season, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy with that. If I was a Browns fan.
I think this is one of the biggest things you get in when people are talking to Browns. I'm probably one of the most realistic fans I've met so far, and this team has a lot of talent and probably all the talent they need to go to the Super Bowl. But it's still young, undeveloped talent, and I don't think they found the right chemistry with this team, because they will have great weeks and they have bad weeks, and they're having more of those bad weeks that you see out of a team that doesn't really have everything together, whether that's coaching or play by quarterbacks or defense. I don't think the team's 100% of what it needs to be, and the injuries don't help that. They need help in the secondary. They need help up front, the offensive line. They've shown some issues in this second half of the season that really need to be talked about in the offseason. They don't have a downfield threat. Jarvis Landry is a fantastic slot wide wide receiver. But, the Browns, I think a lot of fans wanted to go Super Bowl. And even I was saying, I really want that Super Bowl before the season. But if I was being realistic, I can see this team going 500. And as a Browns fan, I am okay with that. As long as we're not a 2-3 win team that's getting laughed at every single year because of that 0-16 season from just 3 years ago, then I'm okay with that. I want to be a team that you can at least talk about of winning a football game. We don't need to be a team that goes out there and goes 14-3 every season, or 12 wins, 13 wins plus. That's what really great football teams do. Cleveland is probably a while from being one of those squads, and I don't want it to be that way, but that is the realism of the situation in Cleveland. This isn't a winning city, and that's probably one of the biggest problems. Is
the blue collar.
The Cavs had their day in the 90s. They probably could have won a title if not for Jordan, but they didn't. They are one of those. This is one of those cities. They get down there and they're going to fight you tooth and nail to the very end. And even if they don't come out with the win, they're coming out with their heads held high. And that's even what you saw in the 4-year series with the Warriors. They made the 3-1 comeback. We got our title. I was satisfied. You saw it with the Indians. They played great, tooth and nail down to the end of it, and they just couldn't pull it off. They were one game away for 4 straight times. You saw the Browns, with the Cardiac Kids against Denver. They were right there. They had every shot. This just isn't a city that wins championships like it is with Boston and LA and Tampa Bay. This isn't one of those super cities. This is a city that, if we're there at the end, we're happy. And that's just what I want to see from the Browns. Just put us in a spot where we can make the playoffs every year. Put us in that opportunity, even for a wild card, just to give this city something to look at during the winter before we hit, important NBA season. Just give the fans something to cheer about for half the season. Win at home. I don't care what you do on the road. Just win at home. Give me something to look forward to every Sunday when I turn on the TV. Because you know what? The last 20 years, you turn on the TV to watch Browns football, it's not a happy evening. It's not a happy evening. If I can finish half of those weekends happier, that's fine by me. I don't need this team to go out there and win a Super Bowl right now. I would love that. As a sports fan, yes, I want my team to win a title, obviously. But being realistic, can we just win a football game? How about we focus on winning the game ahead of us before we focus on winning a Super Bowl? And, I think I'll admit it. I was one of the fans kind of caught up in the fanfare this offseason. Go, yeah, we got the team. Woohoo, let's go Super Bowl. Yeah, I had to take a step back. I'll admit it. I had to take a step back and go, that's not Cleveland. This is the Browns. Just remember who we're talking about. This is the Cleveland Browns. This is a hat from their first stint in Cleveland, back before this move to Baltimore. This is an old hat. This hat has seen this team have as many up and downs as anyone out there. And this is just one of those times. Be realistic. Let's just win the football game now. That's what I want to see. It. So just win. Just win now. Worry about a Super Bowl if you get there. Steelers, they've been there. They've had winning season after winning season. And for you guys, your expectations are championships, AFC championship appearances at the least. And that is the expectation set for, your team. And same goes for Baltimore. They have, as many appearances as, a lot of teams in the NFL. That's the status quo for teams like Tampa Bay right now. New Orleans Saints, that is what they expect. You go Green Bay Packers, they expect to be there. If you're a Cleveland fan, we don't expect to be there. That would be amazing, a miracle run if that happens. It's just not realistic. They almost did it last year. They almost did it. And you know what? Everyone was like, yes, that is what we wanted. As a Cleveland fan, that was the best season I have ever seen personally. That run was historic. And all the people trying to discredit Baker Mayfield, keep in mind, he's still the best quarterback this Browns franchise has ever had. Put that into your brains. Right, since they came back. I mean, even if you go back before it, he still has some of the best numbers we have ever seen out of some Browns quarterbacks. Yes, there are some greats in front of him. Some greats.
Bernie and Brian Sutton, man.
Right, but,
legends.
since they came back, this has been the best we've seen. And Baker Mayfield has better numbers than Bernie Kosar. So, he is an all-time great quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Just everyone expects Super Bowls these days. And that's unrealistic when we're talking about any team. Super Bowls are a rarity. We're going into what? Super Bowl 56 or 55 in this upcoming season. It's something you just have to look at and go, there's not that many champions. So you have to be really, really great in the NFL or be really, really lucky to win a title. And that's just not realistic for every team to have that expectation every season.
Yeah, I mean,
the Browns I had to go on a little rant there, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming too. Wait till we talk about Pittsburgh here. I mean,
how about we speed through a few of these ones so we can get down to Pittsburgh, finish off the show. 49ers versus what?
That was like 10 minutes.
So. Yeah, I know. I was going there. I you know what? I don't talk Browns too much. I don't go deep into stuff. I had to once at least 5-5 season. If it goes up from here, great. If it goes down, at least I had the first 10 weeks. 49ers versus Jaguars this weekend. I got to go 49ers in this one. I don't see the Jags pulling this one off again.
I got to go 49ers as well. They're looking better. They have Jimmy G back. That's good.
Right, and they're finding their rhythm offensively. They got a lot of good things going. And how about this one? Texans versus the Titans. We saw this Titans squad jump right back into the mix, and they're right up there with it. Teron Taylor back, though, for the Texans as well in his second week. I still got the Titans to take this one. Mike does too.
I do too.
Titans going across the board. This one, though, might be an interesting pick. We got the Packers versus the Vikings. Matt, thoughts?
Let's
I like this matchup. Game. I think this is a fun matchup to look at. I mean, you got 4-5 Vikings in second place of the NFC North. Packers obviously 8-2 first place of the North. And offensively, Vikings have scored more points for one in the season. Just the defense has been lacking in that department. And they've played teams close all season long. They just haven't pulled out the big wins. And because of the fact they haven't been able to pull it out, I think that's where you give the Packers the advantage in this game is they've been able to win late in football games. So I'm taking Green Bay.
Let's look at this Viking. Let's look at their losses, okay? They lost to the Bengals by 3, the Cardinals by 1, the Browns by a touchdown, okay? Cowboys by 4, the Ravens by a field goal, 34-31. I remember that game. And then that's it. I mean, they've beaten the Chargers, they've beaten the Panthers, the Lions, and the Seahawks. They have really fought for these wins, okay?
Yeah,
this is a type of win. This is a type of game where they might pull this out. That honestly, they might. And before I make my pick, who did Mike pick? Did he pick the Packers?
Mike took the Packers too.
I knew it. He always picks the favorites. Well, at least for NFL. At least have to.
Oh, and Aaron Rodgers is back for the Green Bay Packers.
And Aaron Rodgers is back. Okay, so
that was per Schefter about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, I think there's some stuff going on there. I think there's a lot of drama right now, especially he's coming back now after that whole thing where everybody's saying he lied and stuff like that. I think we're going to see the same Aaron Rodgers we saw in that game 1 game. I think he's going to be like, you know what? I'm the leader of this team, and you need me to win. I don't think I want you to win this week. Ooh. And I think the Vikings are going to win.
Okay. I like your analysis there.
Yeah.
Rodgers getting a little cocky. He's like, hey. It's either I win it or you lose it. So it's up to me. I don't really feel like it this week. You guys talked a lot of crap this last weekend.
I don't feel like it.
I don't feel like it. Right. I saw what you guys did without me. You all couldn't win without me.
You couldn't win.
Jordan Love? Nah, man. This is Aaron Rodgers country up here. This is Aaron Rodgers. You cheeseheads need me. You need me, Aaron Rodgers. That's what he's thinking. I like that analysis.
You need John Wick. No.
I just don't think he wants to take a second loss like that this season where they got crushed week 1 against the Saints. I don't think he wants that on his resume twice this year, especially because I know he wants another Super Bowl with this squad. I mean, they even said it before the season started. Last Dance, right? Last Dance. That's what they were going for. This is a team they won it, and they would only go 8-3, and they're still in a great spot, first place of their division. Yeah. I just don't think this is a game they want to sacrifice to do it because it's so winnable.
It's true. It's true.
Ravens versus the Bears this weekend. I think this one pretty simple. Allen Robinson still out for Chicago, and that's the number 1 target. I don't think they have anyone else to really go to. I think Ravens are a really big favorite to take this one, but Lamar Jackson is back.
Oh, then the Ravens are going to
win. Yeah, and that was the thing today that just came out. They have, I believe it's Lamar Jackson back. Hollywood Brown is back, and Marlon Humphreys is back as well. They were all back at practice, and Lamar Jackson said he was just out with some cold-like symptoms, so he was trying to stay away, making sure he was healthy, and came back. He said he's ready to go this weekend, so it'll be the Lamar Jackson show. And Matt, I'm going with you here. I've got the Ravens. Yeah. Mike took the Bears.
Didn't you say the Bears don't have Khalil Mack?
Yep, no Khalil Mack, no Allen Robinson, but both of those came out pretty recently. And Matt, without Lamar Jackson, I actually had the Bears written down on my end too, but I read that Lamar was coming back. I was taking the Bears. Not anymore, no chance. Trace McSorley wasn't going to win it for the Baltimore Ravens, so
no.
They're going to win it with Lamar Jackson back at the helm. No, I got no problems. No Khalil Mack. I love Justin Fields. He's having a good season, but too. He's not winning football games, so that's the number one thing. He puts up some nice numbers, but at the end of the day, they don't win, so you can't give them a win until they do just that. Bengals versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Matt, thoughts and predictions?
I think there's just too much. I've liked this Raiders team. I've tried to pick them as much as I can. I just think there's just too much going on, too much to win. There's so much going on in that organization right now. They're not even thinking about football, okay? They're thinking about what's next. What do we do next? Do we stick with the same coach? Who do we go for in the draft? Because, we don't have any receivers. We had to bring in old Deshaun Jackson, okay, who made a fumble.
Yeah,
I don't see.
You got Bengals. I got Bengals. Mike got Bengals. So Bengals across the board. They've been having a good season. Frankly, as the Browns fan, I don't want them to win because they're still ahead of us in the division. I want that spot back. But, at least Browns have the tiebreaker win over them if it comes to that at some point. Next game up here, Cardinals versus Seahawks. Cardinals back at near full strength again. What are your thoughts here?
Still no Russell. He's still getting there. I don't even know what to think when he does come back. First game with that finger fully rehabbed. I don't know. I can't pick him this week as much as I want to. I like the Seahawks team. That team is Russell Wilson. And, without him, they haven't played the same. So I gotta go.
Well, Russ is back 100%. And remember, Kyler Murray's coming off an ankle injury too. So you have that. Budda Baker still out for the Cardinals. Not sure if he'll play. A lot of injuries for this Cardinals squad just as well. So, as much as you have to say, Russ, he's coming back. Kyler Murray is just as limited with an ankle injury. And, in that backfield, it could be one. Mike took the Seahawks here. He has them favored. If Russ is coming back at 100% here and Kyler Murray's playing at 75, it's definitely one the Seahawks can win it. I feel like I'm trying to convince you to go the other way here.
I think you have. I'm picking the Seahawks here. You just changed my mind.
Well, this is one of those games you definitely go looking at and go, ooh. This should be a fun one, 8-2 versus 3-6. But I'm taking the Cardinals here. They've shown a lot more all around this season than the Seahawks. They haven't had Russ, so it feels like a wash of a season right now. They can make a great run and storm back in the second half with a 17-game season. They can still finish it up 11-6, but that's going to take an epic performance. I don't think they have what it takes. I think hopes end here for the Seahawks. It's a wash season. I'm taking the Cardinals. Next up, Cowboys versus Chiefs. I'll give you the spoiler pick. Mike took the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, right. Big surprise there.
Surprise,
Cowboys are 7-2. They seem fully healthy. Chiefs are 6-4, but they're back on the win train, and we're in November, and everybody knows this guy can play in November on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but I kind of go Cowboys here. They've been on that win track. They've had their groove the past, pretty much the whole season, except for that little hiccup loss a couple of weeks ago. But Dak was returning. He didn't play for 2 weeks. Now he's back. So the Chiefs have been up and down, up and down. They're finally finding that win streak, and I think they need a reality check. And I think Dallas is going to give it to them. I think Dallas takes the win here.
Well, man, I know we always talked about those reality checks and stuff, but I feel Cowboys might be the one in need of a reality check. I think they're riding a little bit too high. I know they just lost not too long ago and, against the Broncos, and it felt like a real big reality check. They've been playing a lot of teams close, but I don't think they have really an impressive win on the season, right? They've had a very easy schedule so far, in my personal opinion. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they have the table run against them with, a decent amount of good teams that they played. And you just look the last few weeks, they got a huge win over the Raiders. They beat the Packers in a close one on November 7th. They got blown out by the Titans. But, this has been a team that started the season, they played against good teams and they couldn't win it. And I think they kind of got deflated and they were on a downhill mark. But since then, you've seen the Chiefs look like the Chiefs. They've been playing great these last 2-3 weeks. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're first place in the AFC West. Again, I'm taking the Chiefs here.
That's fair.
I'm flipping my pick around. I had the Cowboys. We can't all go Cowboys here, so
yeah, that is true.
I'm switching things up. Matt, one more game here. I'll let you take this one. Okay. Steelers versus the Chargers, 5-3-1, coming off the tie against the Detroit Lions in the 5-4 Chargers.
All right, I'm going to take a sip of water first.
Oh, all right.
Okay. All right, so Mason Rudolph is prepping to start this game. This all comes down to Sunday, okay? Ben Roethlisberger has to have, what did it say? He has to have 2 symptom-free tests for within 48 hours. 48 hours before the game, okay? So, I mean, Rudolph is prepping to start, but doesn't mean he will start. He's getting ready just in case Roethlisberger can't play. So Roethlisberger could be, started right at the last second. You never know. But if Roethlisberger is started, I mean, they've been clicking with him this whole year. I know they've had some sloppy wins, but I say they got to go with the win here. If they have, it wouldn't be – I'm not saying they're going to lose immediately with Mason Rudolph starting, but it's more comfortable to pick them to win with Ben Roethlisberger at the helm. Because, I mean, the guy's been doing it for like 2 decades, so he knows how to lead the team. Rudolph, I mean, we've seen him before. I went on a rant about him before. I don't think he's the right fit. I mean, I was high on him too, coming out of Oklahoma State. I'm like, oh, this guy's just like Big Ben when he was, young. But the thing is, he got hit, and he got hit by one of the former members of the Legion of Boom. Okay, Earl Thomas gave him a knock. Okay, and since that Ravens game, it hasn't been the same at all. And they have a former first-round pick in Dwayne Haskins sitting on the bench. I think they need to get him ready too, because I mean, Mason Rudolph just may look like Nathan Peterman in this game, and they need to take him out, and they need to have Haskins ready. Just hopefully we don't have to go through all this, horrible events. Just hopefully Ben Roethlisberger comes back in time, and you know what, he had a little bit of rest, clear, let the arthritis heal up for a little bit, and I think he comes out, and I think they take this Chargers game. But, I mean, I'm not saying they'll lose if, Rudolph comes in or Haskins. It's just going to be a little bit more harder to work with. You're going to have to rely on other guys, like Najee Harris. And I don't even think Claypool is 100% ready to go either. So it's going to be a defensive game here. And, I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick, I don't know if he's ready to go. Even if he is ready to go, I mean, we haven't seen the best out of him this year. This is definitely one of his worst seasons. And I've talked about this.
He's still playing not too bad either.
He's still playing not too bad, but, I mean, look at this guy who's, like, playing like Charles Woodson last year. Now it's like, what happened? Something happened. And we want to see that former, Minka Fitzpatrick. He's still the undisputed leader of this defense, sort of, at least, with the safeties. More on that defensive line is definitely Cameron Hayward. I mean, and TJ Watt is out, too, on this defense, too. But I like the way Robert Spillane has played. He came in for a little bit last year after, Bud Dupree went down. And I like Alex Highsmith as well. So they have the guys to step up. They have the next man up mentality to win games like this. And this is a huge game, okay? We can't lose this game. We have to win this game. We can't fall 6-4-1. We have to be 7-3-1. We have to try and make that urge for first. We should have had an easy win last week, but we tied with the worst team in the NFL pretty much. So now we have to go in and against a scrappy Chargers team, and Justin Herbert is clicking, okay? In a couple of years, we're going to be like, hey, he's playing like Mahomes, okay? I mean, it's going to change rapidly in the next few years on how good this guy is going to be. So they have to jump on this team, and they have to get him under pressure with the defense they have, and try and win this ball game. I mean, that's all I got.
Yeah, Matt, and I'm chilling back listening to your talk there.
Yeah.
This is a scrappy Chargers team, and they're sitting in second place right now, the AFC West, which really is potentially the tightest division right now, separated by one game pretty much. I mean, Chiefs are 6-4 in first place, Broncos are 5-5 in last, with Raiders and Chargers both 5-4. The one thing right now, I don't know if their defense is very good, and that's a big problem. I think the one big thing, they're hoping Mason Rudolph starts. If Rudolph starts, I don't think they pull out the win against this Chargers squad. They can score the ball efficiently, 219 points for on the season. And, it's not the highest mark, but it sits right about their average. And at least when you compare it to the Steelers, who only have 177 points for, they just have not been able to score the football. And that's the biggest problem you see right now. And that's what's going to cost the Steelers team down the line if they can make it to the playoffs is they can't score. And when you have that be your main problem, and you tied to the Lions last week, I don't see very bright things ahead for the Steelers unless Big Ben gets back. And it's looking like he will be able to come back, but I just don't see big things out of this team this week. I think they got problems. You're taking the Steelers. Mike's taking the Chargers. I'm going Chargers as well here. So, I'm kind of hoping the Steelers can prove me wrong here because I want to see them do well. I got no problems with the Steelers. Even as a Browns fan, I know there's the rivalry. I'm a Browns fan. You guys have kicked my butt in the last 20 years. What do I care? Rivalry? Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, it's probably less of a rivalry than Ohio State Michigan is at this point. It's a yearly
and I don't even call that a
and it's this game is finally seeming like it's coming back around as Big Ben digresses and the Browns are back on their way up into a semi-decent program. But I mean, the last 20 years there hasn't been much of a rivalry. I got no problems. My mom's a Steelers fan. I got no problems rooting for the Steelers if they're not facing the Browns. So
I don't have any problems with rooting for the Browns either. I mean, I don't hate the Browns. I mean, the only team
those are all the picks we have for this NFL preview weekend. How about we take one more look into the NHL this week? Saturday, 6 p.m., 11-5, Minnesota Wild take on the 12-3 Florida Panthers. I'll give this one right away real quick. Mike took the Minnesota Wild. He likes them. They sit in first place in their division. Panthers are in first place at theirs. Panthers get the win over the New Jersey Devils last night, the team he picked. He hasn't picked for the Panthers. And right now, Matt, I'll give you the rundown as we have it for the NHL this week. You're 2-2 in games picked. Mike is currently 1-3. And I'm a perfect 4-0 with the chance to go 5-0 this week. Matt, you finished perfectly in the NBA this week, 6-0 on all 6 games. So round of applause for Matt Morrison out there in the NBA.
I picked the Heat.
Maybe you'll get the NHL round of applause starting next week if I can pull off my pick here. Matt, what are your final thoughts before we wrap up the show?
Panthers are 12-3. I mean, I've talked about this team before. They're good. Okay, they have had a bounce back season, and the Wild are right there too, 11-5. I mean, 6-3 and away games. So, I mean, they're going to come in here. They're really going to give the Panthers a wild matchup. So, I don't know. It's a scrappy game, but I think the Panthers will edge it out. I think they'll take the win.
Matt, I'm going to take the Panthers here as well. And, I'm hoping for that perfect start to the NHL season this week. So, I was pretty bad last week. I only had 1 of 4. So, maybe I'll do better this time out.
Maybe.
But that leaves us with 2 final segments here. Matt, highlight of the week here as we're at the end of the week. You forgot about it too. So did I. Yeah. It's okay. But, I'm going to go ahead, give my highlight of the week, and I got to give it to all the football teams around the Valley. We got a lot of them from YSNlive.com making their way into the regional finals this week. Best luck to all of them. Take it to state. Matt?
My highlight of the week, it's got to be this there's this team from California. They're called the Cubs, okay? And they are an all-deaf team, okay? And they are currently undefeated, making it look to make like a title run here. They phenomenal story. I saw it on the news the other night. Hats off to them, Great play. I mean, they're all communicating with signs and stuff like that.
I saw that. It was amazing.
That's inspirational. It's amazing.
That's for sure. And Matt, that leaves us one final segment. I hope you got something here for us. This week's Beast of the Week.
Meathead of the week.
Well, hold on
there
one
we
second.
Go.
Matt, look, I forgot what day it was. This week's Meathead of the Week.
And you know what? You just made my pick for you. It's you. You're the meathead of the week.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're the meathead of the week because you couldn't name the right name. But I should be the meathead too because I totally forgot about the.
Yeah, you forgot about it. I called the wrong thing. That's going to do it here for this week of the Casual Sports Podcast. We'll see you all next time here on YSN. Peace out.